Now, having heard you sing, I really believe that I was just astounded by your level of control, especially in terms of your dynamic control. It was truly some of the best singing in terms of dynamics and in terms of emotional connection and in terms of just the quality of the sound that I've ever heard live.
Thank you.
How do you achieve that kind of dynamic control? Is there something technically that you think about when you're doing that, or?
Well, for me, it always starts with the breath. The breath control is critical to any production of sound that you decide to make. And being able to sustain any level of dynamic, whether it's forte or pianissimo, it all comes from feeling connected to your body, feeling connected to your gut. And so I've made a point to really visualize how that production of sound is going to happen. So I have to feel it first in my gut, and then it moves up my body in the back. And the production of sound, I like to envision it coming from the back of my head. And the only way that I can have any sense of control, I mean, it comes with a lot of practice, obviously, but the only way I can produce that sound is from my breath support.
Now, you also did opera works last summer, and there's quite a bit of work with Alexander technique, especially related to breath work. How did that factor into your development?
I think maybe I always had an awareness of my breath that is similar, so maybe I didn't ever get moved by the Alexander technique, but I'm still young. And I'm sure that Alexander has something for me in the future, but it didn't move me. I'll tell you what did move me was the movement class. I always wanted to be a dancer. Always.
Really?
Yes. And that was the only lesson I didn't get. I hope my mother does not see this in the video because I'm always talking about this. Yeah, but no, I've always wanted to dance, always. And when I got into that class, I just felt like I had been liberated from something. It was awesome. So for me, the movement was the most powerful tool I gained from opera works, among others, but that was the standout.
Today's performance was very uneventful in terms of things going wrong, or blatantly so at least, from the audience perspective. Have you had any experiences on stage when something totally went wrong? And
oh yes. Well, I had one of my first recital opportunities in college. As I was trying to move toward my bachelor's, I think this was my first half recital. I was terrified. I got up there and I started singing, and of course my brain kicked in and I just sounded terrible to myself, and my voice slowly diminished to about a whisper, and I thought I was going to leave the stage. My body actually made a movement to leave the stage.
Wow.
And my mother was there, my best friend, and they really thought I was going to leave the stage too.
Wow.
Yeah, that was pretty powerful, and something in me stopped me from moving. And this more powerful voice than my mind came in and said, I don't care what you do up here, but you are not leaving this stage until you finish this song. Or the set. I can't remember if it was the first or second song, but it was not good. And man, I did. I just finished. I squeaked out the rest of that song, and I remember going back after the set into the back area and looking in the mirror, just searching myself for the strength to continue to go back out there. And I feel like whatever this voice is inside me is that same voice that spoke to me that day that said, you have to go back out there, you can do it. And I sang the rest of that recital nothing like I had started, I all of a sudden was fine. But something kicked in. Something kicked in that said, you're going to do this and you're going to be fine. And that's, I think, the underlying energy that has kept me moving toward this vein. And finally, when I had met Nina, it was like, why hadn't I ever considered doing this for a living? What, why not? And that's where I am today.
I think that's a big question that everyone had in the audience. There was a question and answer session afterwards when you mentioned that you really hadn't considered this until recently as a career path, and I just, everyone just kind of gasped, because how can you have a voice like that and not consider it and not see that?
I think it's a big confidence issue, and I never wanted to put that type of pressure on something that I love to do for a living, and because then it wouldn't be something that I enjoy anymore. Mm-hmm. So that was a big consideration, and then it was also finding myself, because as somebody who was always considered it a hobby before, I never dared to think of it as anything other than something I enjoyed. And then when you all of a sudden think about, okay, this is where I want to spend my energy and my time, mm-hmm. This is what I want to be my life, even though it already is my life. I mean, there's no denial there, but it's very daunting, it's overwhelming, and there's no career path that's laid out. There's no career tree to look up in the binder to say, this is where you go from here, and then as soon as you graduate there, you're going to go here.
Right.
So I'm kind of on my own adventure. I'm choosing my own adventure here, and at every turn, I have choices, and from those choices, I pick the next one. But at this point, as I've been now given the choice to choose this as a career, and this is something that I definitely want for me.
Now, you still have your day job now, as we speak, which is incredible.
Yeah.
But have you, now that you are transitioning to making singing your career, mm-hmm. do you really see a difference in how you experience singing? Is it less enjoyable? Is it more a task?
Well, because I have my day job, I'm not looking for the next job for a paycheck. I'm looking for the next job as my best opportunity. And I'm lucky enough at this point in my career to not have to worry about what type of financial gain that will be, because I'm not dependent on it. So it's a level of freedom that I think is wonderful. I mean, for me, it's a great place to be, because I can really feel free to choose what's best in my development. So no, I mean, as you experienced today, I just really, every time I get out there and perform, I find something new about myself that I didn't realize was happening. And so it's been this wonderful journey that I never expected. I never expected it. And I think it's wonderful to have that too, because I know it's so seductive to get lost in feeling like, oh, I could do that, or I should be there, or I could be doing that. But I really enjoy every moment that I have performing and feeling the personal growth and learning more about myself, which is, it's such a gift.
It's so wonderful. Now, next for you, you're doing a program called Songfest, which is wonderful here in Malibu at Pepperdine. Mm-hmm. And what do you have lined up for after that? And do you have any plans? Anything specific?
Nope, nothing specific at this point. My goal for this year is to perform as much as possible, and that also includes doing my first personal recital in a long time, since 2002 actually. So that will be hopefully in September this year. And I'm going to try to pursue some other opportunities at just auditioning places. I mean, that's other performance opportunities that I would have for myself, and those are, I think they're in fairly plentiful variety. So that would be kind of what I'm doing. But again, it's it's been such a journey, and I feel like my voice is in control. I really feel like as long as I put energy and time into developing this gift, that I will know when the next the door opens, and all of a sudden, you know, it would be nothing that you could possibly plan for. So I'm just kind of I have faith that this will continue, because it always has, and so I could never forsake, you know, the experience, and kind of, I guess, going where the wind blows. For the
and right now it's blowing really hard. Yes. It's definitely blowing us somewhere very special. So. Well, thank you so much, Tory. I so appreciate this time that you took to talk to us today.
Oh, thank you for the opportunity.
We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.